What's going on, Matt? How are you?
What's up, boys? How you, man? Long time no talk.
Long time no talk. How you been, man? Survived the pandemic?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I survived. I'm doing well. I'm happy. Ready to get in and get some work in.
Did you get the run, by the way, or were you able to avoid it?
I'm a Highlander, brother. I'm O negative, so I've been on the straight and narrow for a while.
I remember you were one of the ones scheduled to fight when they canceled at the last minute, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020, right?
I was supposed to fight Ronnie Marks.
Wow, yeah, because Ronnie was stepping in for Barnett, I believe, or something like that. Or you were
I was
stepping
in for. I was stepping in for Josh.
Yeah. Wow. So the Rona owes you, man. They took a paycheck from you. No. If I recall, I think Bellator. I think they made amends and sent out some checks, right?
They did. Bellator handled that very well.
Very cool. All right. Well, so let me ask you, man. Before we get to Fortune, I want to close with him so we can promote Bellator 262 happening in 9 days. We recently had a topic on MMA Junkie where we just talked about, for Fedor's last fight, what we should do. I pitched your name because, for one, I just think you guys would put on an amazing show like you did the first time. You both connected. You just happen to be more on the button. And two, you can talk a good game, but I think you can also do it respectfully. And three, of course, USA versus Russia. That never gets old. Do you want to be a part of those sweepstakes sometime in October after this one's done?
I think that'd be absolutely dope, man. I think that I don't think that there's a better fight storyline or fight itself than me and Fedor, or than me with Fedor. Fighting him in Moscow would be absolutely dope. I'd be honored to go to his backyard and scrap. Everybody that knows me or has ever watched me fight knows I'm game. I've got nothing to be hesitant about in any which way, shape, or form. And on top of that, like, I respect Fedor to the point that I know that was kind of a blip on the radar, an anomaly fight. It was nuts. It only lasted 70-something seconds, and I know that he wants that one back. So all I got to do is say my name, and I say yes.
Love it. All right, I just had to clear that up because, like I said, it was a recent segment on our video franchise called Spinning Backlick. Mir's name came up, your name came up, Barnett's name came up. Verdum's throwing his own name in there, of course. But I just thought, like I said, that you were my horse in the race, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm kind of almost fishing for that pat on the back, But anyway, listen, Tyrell Fortune's your opponent though next Friday, and the roles were reversed. When we first met you through Tough, you were one of the guys looking to clip a guy like Fedor or one of those veterans. Now you're the veteran, established veteran, the name. And not to say Fortune's brand new coming off a show or anything like that, but, he's just a younger cat. The roles are reversed. How do you like that, being chased now, being hunted?
It doesn't. I've never really thought about it, but to be totally honest, it doesn't matter. I know I've known Tyrell a long time. We've trained together. We have a good relationship. But we kind of figured this day would come. Hopefully it was going to come, when I was retiring and he was still coming up. But, Bellator is not very deep in the heavyweight division. So it's happened now. I'm prepared for it. I've wrestled a ton at Purdue. I've gotten ready. I feel like I'm in good shape. I feel like my body's ready. And I definitely don't see it being the way the Bader fight went. But I'll do everything I can within my power to make it a much more exciting and compelling fight. I win.
How would you categorize when you say, you've been training wrestling at Purdue? Did you immerse yourself in terms of you even want to be offensive with it? Or are you keeping it real in terms of like, hey, look, I just want to stay off the ground and sling these dogs? Like what level of wrestling, I guess, did you try and apply it?
Well, I've been training for this fight really kind of in theory. I've been training for this fight for like 5 or 6 months, right? Like for quite a while. And so as a result, I feel that I've obviously grown into an offensive wrestling, but I'm not an offensive wrestler. And I'm not gonna try to shoot, reshoot, back out, reshoot, blah blah blah. But I'm not scared of it. If the fight goes to the ground, I feel like I've done so much wrestling and preparations with their heavyweights, their light heavyweights, their 197s. They're middle guys that are they're 210 to 215 guys that might cut to 197. They're 265 or 285ers. I've wrestled a lot. I've wrestled with their coaches. I mean, so I've done a very considerable amount of work in the wrestling room. And not that like that's not necessarily my way to beat Tyrell. My way to beat Tyrell is to be myself. Let my hands go, let my feet go, and don't be timid about fighting a wrestler. And and push tempo. I think that's what it is. I think it's pretty obvious that like Tyrell's most glaring attribute in this is going to be wrestling or getting me to respect his wrestling so much that I leave my hands down in order to catch punches at the face. But I'm going to do my best not to let that happen. I like Tyrell. I hope he's successful. I just hope he's not successful the night that we fight each other.
Matt, these type of matchups, how is each one different for you? Like, you seem like such a chill guy. Solving these different types of puzzles. Do you just see the opponent, the date, and say, "Hey, man, I'm gonna do my thing and I'll be there"? Or are some of them funner than others?
No, really, they're pretty much all the same. Like, I don't put a lot of credence into other things. My coaches watch film now. I don't watch film anymore. I go in, I react. I react to the things that the coaches have shown me and told my training partners to show me in practice, and I go. And that's it. Everything is its own puzzle. I found when I was younger in fighting that if I watch enough film or watch too much film, I wait for the triggers that I saw in film, and I'm not proactive. I'm reactive. And then I found that was kind of paralysis by analysis. I just waited and waited for things to respond on, and if they changed up their tendencies or they did some self-scouting, then the trigger never came. And so as a result, I kind of just decided to shake that off and let myself kind of just feel it out and see what happens. And I think that's where I do my best work at.
When we first started talking to you, you were so green in the sport. And there were some things that you talked about that were very similar between MMA and say, football. But throughout the years, have you found any stereotypes where you said, man, I fell right into that fighter stereotype? And then maybe some that you just did not embrace whatsoever?
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I've always been pretty careless with my mouth. Like, I say what I think. I don't have much of a filter. So maybe that's more the kind of fighter stereotype, right? Like you say whatever comes to mind. You don't have like a quote unquote like a social filter, I guess, in ways. But I guess maybe that's something. But other ways, like I'm an intellectual. I'm a businessman. I've always been cognizant of what my opportunities are and how to capitalize on them. And I think that I think maybe a lot more young guys are in the sport are like that now, almost to a fault where they're kind of they incessantly pimp themselves versus doing it at the right times, in my perspective. But then again, I'm an old man playing a young man's game, so maybe things different now.
Does this almost look like one of those scenarios? Like I mentioned, you seem like such a chill dude, where after this fight, you guys will probably just grab a beer, sit down, and talk and be friends?
Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, he wins, I win. Like somebody needs stitches, some they don't. I mean, I'm quite certain that Tyrell's the exact same way, dude. It's not gonna trip me out one way or the other. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna perform my damnedest. I'm gonna do everything I can to win. So's he. But one of us is gonna lose, right? Let's kick him in the nuts. And then it'll be a no contest, and then there you go. But like overall, like we know it's a hurt game, man. We know what's gonna happen, and it's inevitable.
Two more from me. You played football, and I want to ask you what position, because we know it's probably defense, but maybe you'll surprise us. What position do you think could produce the most MMA athletes if football started churning out more athletes that I guess make it on over to our sport? Let's not just focus on big guys like yourself, because obviously a DB can be a lightweight or a welterweight. But which position that you played or that you saw others, did you just say, man, those guys are fearless and they got what it takes? They got the DNA to transfer over.
Well, DNs and rush linebackers. for one, 100%. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Athletically, I think tight ends are some of the most athletic guys on the field. But I would say probably safeties. Corners are too delicate mentally for the most part. I think safeties are grimy. But rush linebacker and rush end, I think is the answer overall.
Okay. And then lastly, who in your career can you look back and say, man, I learned a lot from that guy? Rashad was your coach on Tough. Chris Lytle was your Indianapolis homeboy. Sean McCorkle, I don't know if you learned much from him. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, is there even a name that would surprise us as far as like, man, you know what? That guy was really like a pillar for me throughout this past decade decade plus that you've been competing.
Yeah. Well, I think you kind of hit him on the head. I think Rashad was really beneficial. I think Chris Lytle, Chris has been involved in my life since the moment I walked into a gym. And that's been pretty significant. He's always had such a great position of tutelage and mentorship. And I would say the one guy you didn't bring up was Josh Barnett.
Got it.
Josh has trained a whole lot. He's always taken time out to be a coach. He's a great dude. I heard before I ever went and worked out with him, I heard like, hey, don't trust him. He's a douchebag. Like he's gonna hurt you. He gets his rocks off on being an asshole. And he was never anything of the sort with me at all. He was cool. He was respectful. He was patient. He let me work on him. And I really appreciated him as a teacher.
Nice. All right, Matt, thank you so much for the time as always. It's always great catching up with you. Good luck in whatever's left in your training camp for Tyrell Fortune at Bellator 262 on the 16th. We'll definitely be tuning in. Showtime has us covered now, so we'll be watching. And thanks again.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, boys.